Hey everyone, Josh here. This video is going to be a quick one on doing DPF and EGR delete for off-road V10 TDI Touaregs. If you're looking at this video, you obviously already know it's illegal to remove emission components for on-road vehicles. So this will be strictly for informational purposes or again for off-road or competition use. So you've got your DPF here on both sides as well as your cats. So really when doing an EGR and DPF delete, the DPFs are the only things that have to come off. The cats necessarily don't have to come off, and the EGR can stay on if you want to. So obviously DPFs will clog up if you leave them on. So to do them, you either need to make custom downpipes, or you can, or in North America, you can use 2004 Touareg downpipes because they would only had the cat, not the DPF. The only issue is all sensors have to be plugged in or else you're going to get a lot of electrical faults. So you've got your lambda sensors, you've got your DPF differential sensor, there's one there, so that's before and after. You've got an EGT sensor that goes after the cat, or after the DPF there. Same thing, you've got one there. And this one's just much the same. You've got your two differential sensor hoses, and another EGT, and your lambda sensor. So you can make custom downpipes or whatever you see fit. You can cut the cans, but that also, since there's very few V10s, at least in North America, if you ever decide to put your Touareg back on road, it might make it a bit difficult to find a DPF. So whatever you decide to do, that's up to you. The EGR itself, it can stay on. You've got the two crossover pipes off of your turbo. The cooler sits in the V there. Then you've got your crossover tubes that go up to your intake valve. This can all stay on, as it can just get shut off in the tune. But if you want to remove it, tidies up the bay a bit. You don't have to worry about these flex joints cracking and EGR cooler leaking, kind of that kind of stuff. You can install blocker plates. You can get them made up in machine shop, pretty easy. The exhaust manifold one will be a custom size. The manifold, or the intake valve itself, uses the same as an AOH or BEW, I believe. I'll double check that. But that's another way you can go. So next we'll get into the tuning portion of it. So yeah, we'll switch over to that now. So this one here is actually an ALH or BEW blocker plate. So you can get them in EGR kits online. So that fits on your turbo like so. So these are your up pipes, go from your cooler up to your intake EGR valve, and that's what size this is. So if you're getting rid of all your components, blocker plate will work up top. The issue is this one's at the bottom, right at your manifold. The holes actually line up pretty close, but if you flip it over, I'll see how this works here. If you flip it over, first off you can see it's a little bit fatter, as well as you can see these holes are slotted and they aren't quite 100%. So if you don't have a machine shop nearby, you can get these plates on eBay or wherever, and I'm sure you can modify it to make it work. It does have to get slimmed down because it is pretty tight at the turbo itself. So if you got a grinder and burr bit, you can oblong those holes a bit. And I'm sure an ALH or VW blocker plate will work at the manifold as well as your intake EGR valve. So yeah, so now we'll get to the tuning portion. So here I've got this file opened up on WinOS. If you don't know how to get the file off your ECUs, you can check out one of my earlier videos that I'll put the link in the description or on the video or whatever. It's a little bit different because it has the master and slave ECUs, so it uses two different ECUs. But anyway, so this is the master file off those ECUs that I got on WinOS here. So first off, we're going to do the DPF switch, which is not too bad to do. So we'll scroll along here. You're looking for two maps that are pretty obvious to see. So I guess first off, we're on 16-bit. We're doing hexadecimal numbers and we're on high-low for this file. So I'm going to scroll along. We're going to be looking for a file or a map here. It's quite obvious to see. There it is. Very aggressive spikes, the upward spikes here. So that's got to do with the turbine speed or pressure. So now you know you're kind of close to where you need to be. So if we switch to text mode here, you can go along in the map in 2D to find it, but it's a bit tricky. So we can search for a number here. So two numbers we're looking for is 32767 followed by 32768. So it starts bringing them up, so that's not what we need there. That's one here, but then if you look along here, or with 16-bit, what we're looking for, or an 8-bit, you'd want a 0 and a 1. So on 16-bit, a lot of times the 1 is actually shown as 256. So there's a 26 here, but not quite what we're looking for. So now we got our group of 32767s, which none of them have what we need. So we just jump past them. So here, so 32767, 32768, and then 3 spots after you have 00256. So that's a good chance that's our switch there. So you needed an 8-bit to make sure that you know it is, but so when you switch to 8-bit, it's going to rearrange all of our margins here and the numbers all go crazy. So if you go to search, you can insert edit comments. So I just put 1 with the background color of red. So when we switch to 8-bit here, see it all jumps around, comes down to here. So there's our 001 and our 000. So the 1 is what we need here. So we actually, if you just click on it and hit K, there we go. So map. So we'll say this is the DPF switch, and then you can put 1 is on, 0 is off. So there. So this is our file here that we're doing. So DPF switch, 1's on, 0's off. So with it highlighted, you can just hit 0. Oh, not sure why I clicked there. That changes to 0. So now you can see you got 000, 00. So we switch back to 16-bit. So there's our number there. So that's our switch. So now our DPF is switched off. So doing that, you want to make sure that the EGR wasn't throwing fault, or not the EGR, the DPF wasn't throwing faults before you shut it off. So that is that done. So now we're going to switch back to 2D. And we're going to go back to the beginning here again, and now we're going to do the EGR. So this one's a bit more lengthy. So you're going with EDC 16, you need to find the EGR hysteresis, or like hysts. So some people call them, or hysts. So we're just going to scroll along. We're looking for, again, there's going to be some very obvious maps we're looking for, which are these ones here, which are calibration maps for the EGR. So right after that, so here's our hysts. So that's, this one here is 1, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. So basically you're going to need to find hysteresis 2 and 5, and we're going to blank it, and that'll actually shut the EGR off. This video isn't doing dynamic EGR or anything like that. This is just strictly shutting it off. So we're going to switch to text. So we need to make a map, which it's a bit tricky. Sometimes WinOS will be a bit of a pain. But so you need, so these maps are 1x20s. So you need to make sure you've got 20 digits across here. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. To add or subtract, you can go to view. So more columns are M, less columns is W. So next, so now we need to find 20. So that'll be up close to the top here. There. So now, so this first 20 digits are your x-axis information. So, since we have it set to 20, you know that's your very first one, and this one would be your last one. So that's your x-axis information. So this is their information for our map. So to make a map, you need to have that one all the way to the left column. So if you control arrow, let's go the other way here. Control arrow. So it kind of changes it around. So there's our initial R20. So there's 40,000, 1250. So that's all our x-axis information. So here's our map itself. So highlight it. You know, selection, select map K, or like K would be your keyboard shortcut. So we're gonna name this the hysteresis 5 or 1. I mean EGR. 1. So again, so that's our 20 bit map. So here's our very first x-axis information. So again, so that would be 20 there. So that's our very first one. So again, so we're gonna control arrow. And to hit delete to get rid of the highlight of the last map. Again, if you hit K, a map, EGR, S2, so delete, that's our very first one, so that's our information, so that's our very first for map, so control over, so again, highlight your 20 across, hit K, map, so I'm going to call this EGR S3. So hit delete again. So basically just keep doing the same thing. So we're going to control, bring that over, highlight it, keyboard shortcut is K, map, this is hysteresis 4. Delete. Go across. So again, we're going to hit K. Map. Hysteresis 5. So down here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. X out of that. So here's our map. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So 2 and 5 are the ones we want to 0. So we can just go like this, highlight that, go all the way across, change absolute, so we're gonna hit, so it's gonna show value 0, hit OK. So now that's zeroed out. Next, gonna open up 5, gonna do the same thing. Go all the way across. Change absolute, so we need to go 0. Hit OK. Just like that, the EGR hysts are all zeroed out for the two that you need to do. So now the EGR valve is going to stay at 100%, so now no exhaust gases are going to be going into the intake. So that's really it for this video. Yeah, if you found this helpful, subscribe and kind of follow along with this Touareg. Might do some more ECU related videos. I'm not 100% sure yet. Some of them can get quite lengthy. This is my edited file I've been working away at. So I'll play around with that a bit and see if I get it to do what I want it to do, and maybe I'll share some information if I figure it all out.